I'm Bill.
And I'm Candace, and we're the Disruptors.
Oh,
really?
Today
Again?
It's going to be disrupting. I'm telling you, we're taking you out floating. I think this is going to be exciting to take you floating.
I've actually wanted to experience that. We are privileged to have Kat Jackson from Northwest Float Center in our studio today, and we're excited to hear all about floating.
Yeah.
It's might not be a new trend, but it is one that, let's just say, the most population have not been aware of.
Yeah.
So welcome to the show, Kat.
Thank you both for having me.
This will be exciting to see if you can float after the show's over. Oh, okay. Go right. Yeah.
I thought you invited me here to talk.
Yeah.
No, you could say floating is trending. That's a cool word to use. To kind of give a little bit of background, we'll start with what floating is. I'm not talking about floating down the river. I'm talking about flotation therapy, sensory deprivation tanks, which kind of sounds, woo, like, do I want to do that? And yes, the answer is that you do. A float tank is about 8 feet long and about 4.5 feet wide. In it, there's a foot of water and about 1,000 pounds of Epsom salt.
Wow.
So in that environment, your body's completely buoyant. Think of the Dead Sea. It's the same thing. The water is so dense that you are just being harnessed in water to just relax. So floating itself was discovered back in the 50s. A scientist named John C. Lilly wanted to know, what does our brain do without any sensory input, no stimulation whatsoever? So it's kind of cool to think about all these like weird things that they tried to do to create that environment.
Sure.
50s science, kind of cool stuff. But they finally landed on a float tank. The body is completely buoyant. It's being held in the water. And they discovered that in your brain, you could say that you very quickly slip into that theta wave brain state without any sensory input. And that theta wave brain state is that state kind of in between asleep and awake.
Oh, neat.
When you're just dozing off, you're kind of still awake, but you're starting to get those dreams. That's that theta wave brain state, and it's an extremely restful state. They say that 1 hour in the tank is equal to about 4 hours of perfect bed rest.
Wow.
Really?
Yes.
That's amazing.
So there's so many cool things that can happen in your brain while floating, and that's why it was discovered. And then all the benefits that happen physically just kind of fell into place after that.
That is amazing.
Now, who could use this?
Yeah.
Everybody could use this. Trust me.
Yeah,
if I didn't have to run a business, I would just give everybody floats. This whole world would be a better place, I promise you.
It would be. It would be.
They'd all be floating.
And they're in magnesium.
Yes, so the Epsom salt is magnesium sulfate. So being that there's 1,000 pounds of magnesium sulfate in the water, you absorb a lot of magnesium while you're in the tank. And that's one of the many benefits, but magnesium absorption is a huge benefit of floating. Magnesium helps to relax muscles, so really helps with like muscle tightness. It helps to dissipate lactic acid. So when your muscles are tight, you have too much lactic acid, if you're a runner or marathon, all that kind of stuff. So it really helps to relax the muscles. Also, we talked about this a little bit, really helps to relax the brain. When we're stressed, we produce cortisol in our brain. Our brain can't tell the difference between stress if it's because you stubbed your toe or if you can't make your mortgage payment. Stress is stress. So when our brain creates stress, we use magnesium that's supposed to be present in our bodies, and there's supposed to be enough of it to go around. But so many things contribute to the fact that we don't have much magnesium to kind of grab from anymore. There's a lot of supplements that we take for magnesium. Calcium and magnesium is a pretty common supplement that people take, but those actually bide for absorption when you take them together, so you're not ending up with all the magnesium that you need. We used to get magnesium from our foods. There used to be just loads of magnesium in our soil, and that's also depleted as well.
So do you ever have individuals that have, let's say they're claustrophobic, and do they...
All the time. Okay. Yeah, that's that's almost the most common thing that people say, I don't know, I'm claustrophobic. In almost 5 years of business, not one person has come out of the tank early and said, I can't do it.
Wow.
So that I like. I've been saying, I said that for 1 year, not in 1 year business, not in 2 years, now I'm up to almost 5 years. So we're still chugging along. It's really, once you realize that you're in control of your environment, you really realize how relaxing it can be. And I always say to get your first float out of the way so that your brain kind of knows what to expect. We just live in this world where we're just constantly inundated by lights and sounds and cell phones and text messages and deadlines and all the things that we all know that we deal with all the time. So to go into an environment and expect our brain to just automatically shut off because that's what you're supposed to do, it doesn't always happen on that first float. And so once you kind of come in and take your float and we wake you up with nice soft music and you get out and you're like, oh, okay, that was good. But you maybe didn't relax in your brain as much as you would have liked to.
Sure.
So that kind of complements the whole claustrophobia thing. Once you get in and out, you realize, oh, I'm in control. I can do this. You know, there's different styles of tanks. Some of them kind of have like a lid, if you will, that kind of go up and down on like a hydraulic situation. We have like doors, like large doors on the front of the tank. And so really commonly people will float with the door wide open if they'd like, or with like a washcloth in the door just to leave a kind of little sliver of light. We have your own personal float tank is in your own room in the facility. And there's a shower and everything in there as well. So it's really nice and private, and you can really just create your own environment and have the float the way that you need it, however it's going to make you relax the most.
That's really neat, because it's kind of like you can create your own space.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what I always tell people is, especially on those first couple floats, you know, if you go in there and you're not able to relax, maybe you had too much coffee, maybe you are feeling too stressed, maybe you're just not very good at quieting the mind, just hang out in there, just stay in there. You're going to benefit so much physically just from being in that tank, being buoyant, laying on your back with no weight. I mean, it's so huge. Your spine can completely decompress. So just to be, like I said, in that environment, circulation improves, inflammation is reduced, and that's just where true healing can happen physically.
Now, I was going to ask you, is the water warm?
Oh, that's the good part. Yes. The water is like 93, 94 degrees, which is, we call it skin receptor neutral temperature. So in the tank, because the tank is pretty easy to regulate that temperature just based on the water. And then we have like heaters in the room and that kind of thing too, so your room stays nice and cozy. So while you're in the tank, after just a few minutes of laying there, you realize you kind of can't tell the difference between the water and the air and your skin.
How neat. I mean, that's very interesting.
We say like floating is kind of like relaxing in outer space. That, again, kind of complements the claustrophobia issue. You're in there and it's infinite. I mean, you can't feel the walls on the side. You're not seeing any light or anything like that if you have your door closed. So it really feels like quite an infinite space as opposed to like a small, tight, confined space.
So now, is there music that plays? Because you had mentioned something about soft music.
We don't play music throughout the whole time, but we do play music to wake you up. So after 75 minutes in the tank, we just kind of pipe in some nice quiet music, and that's
like
kind of your cue.
AC/DC, or something.
Some people have requested some pretty intense stuff. We've played some fun stuff for people, because some people do like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I lost my train of thought. I know that's hard to...
Oh, well, that's hard to
I've got a lot of questions,
go floating
actually.
Immediately then.
Well, I have a lot of questions, and so I'm always very curious.
I'm curious on how we, invited you to the show. I'm sorry, you're one of the hosts.
I went and picked you up. I wouldn't let you ride in your motorcycle or your motorized wheelchair anymore. Although we go banter back and forth about the wheelchair, I really think he should bedazzle it.
Yeah, that's what she thinks. Let's talk about the people with PTSD, which we were discussing while you were out, whatever you were doing with Roger in the parking lot. Give us some of your ideas concerning that subject for our vets.
Sure. Well, the flotation tank, has been, I just think that a lot of people have found like a very safe haven in the tank. I think that you go in, and a lot of people have said it's almost just like the womb. It's warm, it's comfy. You're just being held by something as simple as water. And there's nothing in there but you and your thoughts, right? So to a lot of people, they go, nope, that's scary. But a lot of people enjoy, once it's over, facing their thoughts and realizing that it's okay, that they got through that thought, or that that's actually not my real life anymore, or that's not real life anymore. So as a place to kind of process some of your deep, dark stuff, it's a safe place to do that. And so I think that that contributes to helping people with PTSD if they're actively looking to feel better, if they're actively looking to kind of diminish these thoughts that can kind of control their lives and control their everyday decisions.
Control their everyday thinking and decisions, yes.
But also, again, that magnesium is huge. PTSD, knowing that you have PTSD, living with PTSD, just living with these memories and that kind of thing, that triggers stress constantly. So your adrenals are just shot. You're just you're using every ounce of magnesium, every other type of, supplement and iron and all that kind of stuff in your body that's going to help to counteract that, the imbalance in your brain that's happening. So, like I said, just having that magnesium present really helps to counteract stress. And so I think that that's another huge part of it.
Do you find, I like to meditate.
Mm-hmm.
I like to focus about my day and just psychologically get myself ready. And I envision what my day is going to be like.
Beautiful.
I try to encourage Mr. Lee to do that. It would make a lot of improvements, but so
you'll lead a horse to water.
That's it. You just can't make him drink, doggone.
Just can't.
And I've even given him a straw. But one of the things that I find, even in working with with business owners and such, there's a couple of things. One, that we're so inundated that we train our mind not to tune out,
right.
and that suddenly silence becomes more than loud,
right?
And people become sometimes very uncomfortable,
right,
in that space,
right.
And so I was curious if that's something that you notice, and that sometimes it takes not giving up if they're not completely able to relax on the first or the second,
right,
or the third. They're able to, because sometimes it takes a lot of work
to meditate. I've been practicing yoga since I was 16 and have tried to meditate. I lived on the beach in Hawaii at 18 years old with just some couple fun jobs, and I couldn't meditate then because it's tough almost to get to that quiet place. And so I actually think of floating as assisted meditation. Think about half the battle sometimes of meditation is to quiet the mind, not worry about the blinking light or the dog outside or whatever it is, right? So when you're in the float tank, that's already taken care of for you. So really, this is what I tell people on their first float. I'm like, 10 deep breaths goes a really long way. And when you're at 5 and you think of something, start over. And then when you get to 7 and you think of something, start over again. And so on and so forth. And what you'll realize is you're going to fall asleep pretty quickly after that. But those big, deep belly breaths are really, really helpful to kind of quiet the mind. You'll realize there is no sound. All I can hear is my heartbeat. There is nothing I need to do right now for 75 minutes. I am taken care of. I will be woken up. My family knows where I am. So on and so forth.
There will be no hostage notes.
No,
Candace.
there will not be. No. The staff at Northwest Float Center will take care of you if anything happens. So all these things really contribute to getting to kind of that juicy, I call it that juicy, yummy kind of brain stuff that can happen while you're floating. And so as you were saying with meditation, like I said, it's just, I think of it as assisted meditation, and I kind of couldn't get there, you could say, without a float tank. And I think of floating as a practice as well. Sometimes you're going to have a float and you're going to be so tired physically, and you're just going to go in there and you're just going to doze off, or sometimes maybe just did a huge hike and your neck really hurts or your back or whatever. And it's going to heal you physically in that way as well. But just to be able to kind of work meditation and work getting that silence and getting that peace into your practice of floating, it's huge. I really think it's just it's a compliment to the busyness that we keep up 7 days a week. If I didn't have floating, I don't know what I would do, honestly, because when the days are busy and the phone doesn't stop ringing and the traffic is always there, I know that there is a place of peace. I know that place does exist, and I can get there, and it becomes easier to get there mentally at that traffic light when you know that you can kind of get there in the float tank. So it really carries over, and I just really think it complements this busy lifestyle. That's why I said if I could make everybody float, genuinely, their lives would be so much better.
I agree. I think that we're so pressed on all sides. And sometimes it feels like you have to reach up to touch the ground. Right. Because you're just like, oh my gosh, one more thing, really.
Yeah, I'm only one person.
That's right.
And
that's very true.
I try to use Bill as my assistant, but I'm telling you.
So
it just doesn't work.
That feeling.
I want to float. I'm not sure. Where are you guys located?
We're on 6th Avenue in Tacoma, so we're right on 6th and Proctor.
Awesome. So they can Google you.
You can Google us. We're right next to Expand Yoga, right across the street from Valhalla Coffee. And we've been here almost 5 years.
5 years.
So how do we call you? What's your phone number?
It is 253-212-0360. We also have a really great